Welcome, beautiful soul. We're so glad you're here. This is Lunar Living, a weekly gathering where astrology becomes lived experience. The moon becomes a trusted guide, and every cycle invites us into deeper connection with ourselves, with each other, and with life itself. Whether you're joining us on your morning walk or morning routine, a cup of tea, or beneath the evening sky, let's just take a deep breath and arrive just as you are. This isn't about predicting life. It's about us learning to live in rhythm with it.
And each week we'll explore the current astrology, the wisdom of the moon, and the energetic invitations unfolding around us, translating the language of the cosmos into practical guidance you can actually live. And together we will help you understand not only what is happening in the sky, but why it matters, how it might be showing up in your relationships, your emotions, your body, and your everyday life.
And we'll weave those insights into embodied practices, personal reflections, and relational awareness, because transformation doesn't just happen through information, it requires our personal experience. Now, our intention here is to help use this wisdom to remember our wholeness and expand our capacity for growth, ease, and joyful living. So, wherever you are in the world on your journey, welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm Cholena Casa, founder of Sat Mom and creator of this lunar living rhythm that we are living. For decades, I've explored what it means to live in rhythm with the moon, with my own body, with nature, and with others. I weave cyclical wisdom, embodied practice, and relational awareness so we can expand our capacity for meaningful connections with ourselves and our world.
And I am Elayni astrologer, healer, and intuitive coach, and I love translating the wisdom of astrology into grounded, practical insights that helps people navigate life with greater clarity, trust, and self-awareness. And together we'll explore the gifts and the challenges and invitations held within each week's cosmic landscape, making the heavens feel personal, accessible, and deeply supportive. We're so grateful that you're here.
Welcome to Lunar Living.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Today, we're going to be speaking about an event that is happening on the 19th of July. This is a bit of a cosmic event. This is the kind of astrological event that will be spoken about for the ages. This is one of those really beautiful, rare events that is very deeply meaningful and foreign because this happens once every hundreds and thousands of years, and this particular configuration, I don't know when that happened. I can't trace it back. So this is one of those situations where we really just want to speak about the potentiality of what this time is ushering in for all of us individually and collectively. And so we're going to start this conversation by sharing the chart so that you can see what we are actually referring to.
So it feels like this is more than just a once in a lifetime kind of astrology experience, an energetic, maybe breakthrough, maybe an indication of, what we're all experiencing as humans. Sorry,
Yeah,
all astrology is that. So,
yeah. But this one is special. And so this is a chart that is for the 18th of July. And so I wanted to just show you this chart because this is the famous basket that everybody is speaking about, which is known as Barbault's basket, named after a French astrologer. We'll get into that in a minute. But this is the basket formation that is one of those really rare planetary aspects that Barbault coined as the most beautiful configuration of the 21st century. So if you can look at, we've got Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Jupiter, and then back to Uranus, right? So this is the basket itself. So you can kind of see how it forms the basket, right? And the aspects that are happening here is that we have these two mini trines over here, and then we have the opposition. Now, the basket isn't complete until the moon moves out of Virgo and into Libra. Why this particularly forms and shapes itself is because everything is happening at 4 degrees. Now, this is on the 18th, one day before the event that I'm specifically speaking about. So what I really want to do is I'm going to stop share here quickly, and then I'm going to share the actual chart of the 19th so that you can just see the difference in how this is expressing. That's the difference in one day. So why is this important? And what are we looking at? Okay, so what's happening? The moon moves into Libra, and she's going to be at 4 degrees. Jupiter is at 4 degrees, Uranus is at 4 degrees, Neptune is at 4 degrees, and Pluto is at 4 degrees. So we saw on the previous day that the only aspect that was there was the basket. The moon is the one that activates all of the other sacred geometries and patterns when she moves into 4 degrees of Libra. So what happens is that now not only do we have the basket, but we have the handle of the basket, which is the moon. The moon also creates the 5-pointed star, which is a pentacle or a pentagram. We have a mystic rectangle over here, which is a very rare astrological formation. We have a kite over here, moving down over there, and then we have the kite formation. We've also now got the basket, and on top of that, we also have the house formation. So the moon is the planet that activates all of these sacred geometries between these 5 planets. She, the divine mother. Without her moving into this position, the only formation that is happening is the basket. Now that is big within itself, but what makes this colossal is the fact that she is the one. The mother, the divine feminine in Libra is the one that activates all of these different sacred geometric patterns between the same planets, the 5 planets. So we have the rectangle, we have a kite, we have a pentagram, we have the basket, and on top of it we have all of these mini trines, which are like God's gifts. This is unheard of. Like, imagine 5 planets, 5, just 5 planets that are creating 4 different sacred geometric patterns in the sky at the same time, at the same degree, in the same constellation. It is blowing my mind, to be honest. But now I just wanted to kind of show you what this looks like so that you can see the difference between the 18th, where it was just the basket, and then the 19th, where it's this. And all of that is because the moon, the mother, steps into her place. She's the one that activates the sequence. Not Jupiter, not Uranus, not Pluto, not Neptune. They're holding the basket, they're holding the space, but the moon is the one that makes the handle. The moon is the one that activates all of these geometric patterns and shapes in the sky. So let me just pull up my notes, because I made a lot of notes, because I really want to kind of keep this conversation succinct and give you as much information as I can so that we can work with it in a structured way, because there's a lot to be able to discuss and I don't want to, be all over the place like my brain is recently. So let's talk about the planet, right? So we know that Jupiter, so the 5 planets that are sort of activating all of these spaces, right? We've spoken about this. It's Jupiter, Uranus, Pluto, Neptune, and then of course the moon. All right, so what does each planet represent as an archetype, as an expression? How do they operate? What do they mean? What's their energy? So we know that Jupiter is this planet of expansion and wisdom and growth and opportunity and meaning, right? It is the great benefic, okay? It is associated with abundance and with philosophy, higher education. It is associated with optimism. It is the capacity to grow beyond limitation through faith, experience, wisdom, and understanding. Pluto is the planet of transformation, death, rebirth, power, evolution, the unconscious. Pluto is an energy that is uncomfortable for a lot of people because we don't know how to work with an energy that we can't see, but that we feel. Jupiter, we can see. We can see the growth, we can see the expansion, we can see the outward evolution of who we are and the world around us. But Pluto is more of a hidden kind of energy. It's more subtle. It's sort of like veiled, if you will. So Pluto also rules over healing and trauma and surrender, empowerment. It reveals where profound transformation is required, and from an evolutionary perspective, it is the reason why the soul incarnated. So Uranus is known as like the liberator, the great awakener, the transformer, the evolutionist, the rebel. It is, Uranus disrupts any stagnant systems or energies or patterns or behaviors. And it encourages originality. It encourages freedom and progressive thinking. Uranus is connected to our collective rather than just our individual, right? Uranus also rules science, technology, and breakthroughs. Neptune governs spirituality, compassion, imagination, dreams, transcendence, beauty, higher love. It dissolves boundaries. It encourages surrender, and sometimes that is what we need right now, is we're needing to surrender the ego so that something greater can be born. Neptune also represents our intuition, our creativity, our mystical awareness, our psychic abilities. It is connected to idealism, projection, and artistic expression. And then the moon represents our instinct, our memory, our unconscious emotional body, our subconscious. It represents the mother, nurturing, caring. It represents cycles and change and being able to flow with life. It represents the past, our past lives, our family, our land, our countries, our inheritance, our ancestry. It is connected to empathy and emotional development and maturity. So these planets are all dancing with one another at this time, right? So let's just quickly talk about each planet in the sign or in the constellation that they're in, so that we can also just get a feel for what this is also bringing in from a, like, so we're kind of building it from like the microcosm out into the macrocosm. So Jupiter in Leo expands creativity, confidence, leadership, authentic self-expression, heart-based leadership. It encourages both individuals and societies to embrace courage, bravery, audacity, generosity, and or like authentic individuality. Jupiter in Leo says, I don't want to be like anybody else. I want to be me. So it's going to help bring in creativity, also entertainment, and identity and soul and individual purpose, right? So this is sort of what Jupiter in Leo awakens for us, calls us into, expands us into, right? Pluto in Aquarius, however, brings in transformation to society, technology, collective systems, the collective consciousness, humanity's future. It challenges a lot of old, outdated institutions where things have been out of balance. It transforms and exposes hidden power structures within communities and governments and technological networks that aren't in service to the whole. So Pluto in Aquarius brings in equality and innovation and also collective responsibility. Uranus in Gemini revolutionizes our communication, our education, our transportation, our information systems. It accelerates technology, aviation, innovation, new ways of thinking, new ways of learning, new ways of communicating, new ways of exchanging ideas, new ways of trading, and new ways of sharing information as a whole, right? And then Neptune in Aries is what then brings in our spiritual vision, our beauty with our courageous action and sovereignty. So rather than, passive spirituality, it becomes like the embodied essence of you takes action on the things that make life worth living. So it creates visionary leadership. It creates inspired action. Action from a place of a higher frequency, more love, more compassion, more beauty, more empathy. And the moon in Libra seeks emotional harmony and balance and equality and fairness and justice, diplomacy in relationships, in the law, in systems that are put in place to protect people and individuals. So when we have all of these planets that are known as generational planets, outer planets, it is not a once-off moment. It is a collective shift in our time for our evolution. It is not just, okay, one day and then it's over and things just carry on the way that they've been. This is ushering in a collective moment of it's a reconfiguration of every way that we've known life to be up until this point. It is bringing in a new era, a new dawn, a new way of being for us as a collective and as well as individually. It is a reckoning. Now, I want to just quickly touch on the oppositions that are also happening at this time. So we have the moon opposite Neptune, and then we have Jupiter opposite Pluto, right? These are the only sort of challenging aspects within this whole configuration. So what does that mean? It means that the moon in opposition to Neptune creates like a heightened sense of emotional sensitivity and intuition while simultaneously blurring the lines and the emotional boundaries. And so this is an activation point. This means that from an emotional perspective, we as an individual and a collective start to feel more intuitive. We learn to listen to our intuition more. We learn to trust our emotional bodies more. We become more emotional in our nature, in our responses, in our relationships, the way that we respond to life, people, places, things. But we also lack discernment because we are just merging with each other in an emotional way where we are unable to discern what is yours and what is mine. if we are not conscious of it, right? If we don't know how to work with it. So we may feel very connected to one another, but we are unable to distinguish what is just projection or dreaming and what is really the reality of the situation. The two planets in opposition also brings in a moment of more increased creativity, increased compassion, but there can also be misinformation, confusion, and disassociation. Jupiter opposite Pluto is like tension between expansion and contraction and power and control. So Jupiter wants to be seen, Jupiter wants to grow, Jupiter wants to keep expanding, keep growing, keep taking in more and more and more and more and more. But Pluto wants depth. Pluto wants meaning. Pluto wants transformation. Pluto wants accountability. So the challenge there is examining how our ambitions and our influence and our belief systems are being used to impact not only ourselves, but the people and places around us. So it's like there can be struggles coming up between being like a push-pull kind of energy between leadership and wealth and authority and ideological power. But it can also awaken ethical leadership. So it can also activate extremism and a misuse of influence. So we want to talk about both and, right? Like we're not avoiding the shadow or the light aspects of this. But what I kind of just wanted to do here was I wanted to give you a sense of what are the energies that are at play? How are they expressing? And what is happening for us collectively and individually at this time? The placements is what really piques my interest. It is the aspects that speak to me and that are very interesting to me because when we look at the mystic rectangle from an astrological perspective, a mystic rectangle is opposed, or at least it's consisting of two oppositions as well as two sextiles and two trines. So what this means is that, or represents, it represents the ability to transform conflict or imbalance or opposition or opposing energies. It eliminates tension in a way where the energies are forced to cooperate. There is there's like an awakening and understanding through resilience and creative problem solving. So when we look at the planets that are forming this mystic rectangle, the moon, Jupiter, Neptune, and Pluto are working together to come up with creative and like innovative ways to create and produce more balance, more harmony in the areas of life that we've spoken about. Now, the two small trines, the mini trines, the talent trines, these are like little, they're like God's gifts. They're like little gifts from God, right? They naturally indicate flow, ease, innovation, inspiration, practical implementation. It is like conscious effort, but without the effort, if that makes sense. The pentagram, or the five-pointed star, is honestly one of the rarest geometric shapes or aspects that are found in charts. It is associated with harmony, integration, and humanity's capacity to unite and balance the elements within all of us, earth, air, fire, water, ether, as well as balancing our spirit, our soul, our energy, our consciousness with our human, so balancing spirit and matter. Again, creative potential, multidimensional thinking, an opportunity to balance, harmonize, synthesize unrelated experiences, like things that should not work together, somehow become coherent and just works. The kite formation is, again, it's the trine, the little trine, with the big trine and then the opposition going down. This is, again, talent, 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 talent. Again, comfort, collective growth, focused action. So just the fact that all of these different formations are essentially saying there is huge potential for collaboration, for innovation, for radical change, and it doesn't have to be difficult. Things that should not make sense, make sense. Things that should not work together, work together. Creative problem solving, innovation, evolution. There's so much pure potential here. And then the basket, right? This is, like we say, Barbault's basket, named after French astrologer André Barbault. And he studied these outer planets, and he did a lot of predictive astrology, and he predicted a lot of things that have obviously already manifested itself within our collective. And he said that this is one of those times where humanity is on the precipice of something, and there is basically like a reshuffling, a restructuring of humanity as a whole. It is one of the most benefic configurations of the 21st century. So it's a period where everything changes. Technology, society, the collective consciousness, and it all starts to shift into expansion, evolution, rapid growth, balancing power, having everything that is not pure, that is not whole, that is not truthful, that is not real, that is not just, that is not fair, that is not in balance. That is all going to be restructured and recreated. So I want to take this a step deeper, but I first just want to take a minute and just give Cholena a moment to share anything that's been coming up for her based on what we've just discussed.
The thing that's really dropping in for me is like, this is not a 1 or 2 day astrology piece. This is the opening of a new way of being for us globally.
Yeah.
That's what's sitting in with me without doing just with listening to what you say, because all of this astrology is way beyond any scope that I have on astrology personally. So, but what's sitting with me really is um, it just energetically feels like all of these fake clouds in the sky are parting to make way for new light. And every human on this earth really deserves these gifts, these new opportunities. And also, the challenge that we may experience going through that if we have been choosing our shadow side or choosing not to, face what needs to be faced, we can stand in full authenticity, honesty, and really pursue all that really lights us up in life. If we've been, too hard on the grind and um, giving to other missions besides our soul mission, then we're going to feel that contrast as like that comes to a hard halt. So, how do we lean into what's really feeling good, even if stuff in our lives that we hadn't addressed, and like that job that we just don't like anymore, and those relationships that were built on sacrificing yourself rather than growing together. There's just no traction there anymore. So, how do we support ourselves best in staying really present with that? And leaning into the silver linings, the new way of being that's being cultivated, instead of just like an old story of losing everything. In order to claim the gifts that are present here, the stuff in the way has to go. That's been my experience. And if we're consciously making the space, then receiving the gifts becomes a little bit easier. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That's actually quite lovely bringing
Absolutely.
that in. So I just also want to share something that I feel when I tap in and I just sort of feel into this moment in time, this is the universe has been giving us these opportunities the last couple of years with, Saturn moving into Aries and then coming back out again, and Neptune moving into Aries and then coming back out again, all the retrogrades and like the slow, like, Pluto moving into Aquarius and then coming back out again, and Uranus touching into Gemini and then coming back out again. And we've actually already been in this energy. It's not that this is new to us, right? It's just that now it is full throttle. We're in it, it's moving forward, and it is now time to choose the direction of your life. So, why do I say this? Because the moon, the mother, the divine feminine is the one that activates this new era. It is she who says how this energy is going to express itself through humanity and us. She is the one that is saying where there has been inequality, imbalance, injustice, where things have not been fair or equal, there will be a reckoning. Secrets will be exposed. Egos will be burnt away. Things like the old systems, the old expressions, the old lies, the old lives, where we have not been in conscious co-creation, where we have been blindly just following along with life, is crumbling. And so the people and the places and the things that have disrespected the earth, humanity, society, these people are going to, unfortunately for them, meet their karma in a way that is now cause and effect, because Libra as a constellation is actually, it was never a constellation. Libra was actually a part of Scorpio back in the day, before the Roman Empire recreated and put in an additional sort of constellation. So Libra is actually in the claws of the Scorpion. So Libra is about karmic justice. It is about balance. It is about cause and effect. It is about ma'at, perfect balance. Weighing your heart against a feather. If your heart, if your soul is filled with vengeance and violence and hatred and greed and selfishness, then you will be reincarnated and you're going to have to learn your lessons again, and you're going to go through the experiences until you learn the thing that you're meant to learn. This is what it essentially comes down to. So I'm speaking in metaphor because what I'm trying to get across is, for all the people that have been in the shadow, for the people that have operated in the shadow, for those that have chosen to forget their love, their light, their compassion, their empathy, this is going to suck because it's righteous justice. The moon, the mother, she's coming in, the divine mother is coming in and saying, every single place where you have not been in balance, where you have not been pure, is going to come back and bite you in the ass. And we may all experience this in our own way, right? In our own way, where we have been selfish or self-centered, where we have only lived for us and not thought about the other, right? Where we have lived out of balance, out of harmony, where we have disregarded ourselves and the other people around us, where we have been out of harmony, where we have been out of peace within ourselves, within life. These places are going to come back and it's going to bite us in the ass because it's divine justice. She is saying to us, okay, we are calling in a new era, a new earth, a new time, a new life, a new timeline, a new frequency. And everything that has been done out of alignment towards this divine mother balance Libra energy is going to come home, and it's going to be a reckoning, because we have very strong planets that are saying, we're here, we've got you, we're holding you, we're creating this with you. We have the planet of power, death, transformation. We have expansion, growth, grace. We have innovation, the rebel. We have the mystic. All saying to the mother, we're here. We're going to rally around you. We're going to support you. We're going to stand with you. We're going to change this. We're going to show every person here what their capacity is. But we're also going to show them where they have been out of truth, out of balance, out of alignment. Unfortunately, it is going to happen. We're going to have to sit with that cause and effect of what we have done and created up until this point. We're going to have to choose and be humble enough to go, okay, I was out of balance here. I need to rectify that. This is not working. And I'm not just talking about like the moments where we have caused harm to someone or something and we did not take accountability and responsibility. That cause and effect, that is going to come back, because this is a time of reckoning. She is balancing our hearts against the feather. This is that moment of initiation. And this is like moving forward. This is the seed point. This is like the seed point of all of what this is ushering in. And this isn't a day or a year or even 10 years. This is like hundreds and thousands of years of evolution that is starting to take place and shift and move into things, right? So within 10, 15 years, our entire life, our entire being, our entire society is going to be different. And the key thing that I really want to just quickly highlight here is with our spiritual selves in Neptune, right? Our mystic, the sage in us, the wisdom keeper, the wise one in us. With that planet sitting in Aries right now, saying, can you become sovereign within yourself? Can you take responsibility for yourself? Can you be accountable for yourself? Can you govern yourself? In a sextile to the planet of innovation, revolution, the rebel, the change maker, the truth seeker, can you communicate your truth? Can you radicalize? Can you break free? Can you open your mind to something more, something bigger, something deeper, something more, something where you can be free? Cut the ties, cut the cords, cut the constraints, cut the limiting beliefs, like climb outside the box. And then we have Jupiter. Can you expand your heart? Can you live through your light? Can you become the shiniest, brightest star in the universe? And can you transform your wounds, your fears, your insecurities? Can you make it have meaning? Can you give it depth? Can you root into that? Can you deepen into that while all the while holding balance and peace and harmony and creating for not just yourself but everyone else? Like, it is mind blowing to me how profound and beautiful this time is, but there is the other side of it. And this is why I want people to remember that this is not the time to be scared. This is the time to be courageous, to be bold, to be radically responsible for yourself, your actions, govern yourself, govern your truth, govern your soul, become your sovereign. Be humble, learn to take accountability, be responsible, apologize, take ownership. Stop running away and blaming everyone else for your shit, for your problems, for your choices, for your bad life, for the things that happen to you. Like, yeah, okay, maybe, there are some things that happened that weren't great, but that doesn't have to be your story going forward. This is the time where you as a person takes responsibility for yourself and how you impact the people around you. What is the legacy that you want to leave? Do you want to be some asshole that people like, just like look like, is
Maybe.
that your influence? Do you want to be the asshole? Like, do you want to be known as, oh, that cunt? Like, no, probably not, right? Like, you probably want to be known as somebody. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm speaking for me. Like, I made a promise to myself many years ago that I want to be the kind of person that has a positive influence on the people around me. In whatever shape, way, or form I can do that. That was my promise to myself. I wanted to be somebody that made a positive influence, somebody that brought compassion and empathy and sympathy and love and healing. That's the kind of person that I want to be. That's the kind of legacy that I want to live. And even if nobody remembers me, it's not about that. It's about the thing that I could do for the person in the moment. And it's about how I help them in that moment and how I could support them in that moment. And the transformation that I can see in them is enough reward for my soul to know that I am doing the right thing because I'm doing it through love. That's me. Not everyone is me, and that's okay. We're all different and we're allowed to be different. But the invitation is, who do you choose to be going forward? Who do you want to be? What do you want to leave behind? What is the energy, the imprint, the frequency that you wish to leave upon the people, the places, your children, your future, like, what ancestor do you want to be for humanity, for society, for the world? Be that version. So, like, just feel the capacity of your heart and feel what you are capable of. When you allow yourself to live through divine balance and harmony and peace and equality, wouldn't that be a much greater world for all of us if we just allowed ourselves to live through love and peace and balance and equality and harmony and justice? And we cared. That's what is on offer. This is what we can do. This is what we can create. This is where we can go. And I'm sorry, I know I'm sounding very preachy and I'm sounding like a cult leader trying to like get people into like the cult over here, but the cult of love or whatever. But it's like, I just feel so much love and so much light in this. And I find it just incredible that the moon, the mother archetype, is the one that says, it is time.
Sorry.
right?
The mother never left. The divine feminine never left. She was just suppressed. We can welcome her back through us now, through our softness, through our forgiveness, through our right choices, through operating in love. So just take a moment, take a deep breath in, touch your body somewhere. Just soften for a moment. Notice what's holding too tightly and just allow it a little bit more softness. Noticing the places where we abandoned ourselves, learning how to forgive ourselves for those because we're coming back and never doing that again. Being open to places where our egos may burn because we made choices that didn't support ourselves or others in the past. Okay, that's where self forgiveness comes in. Forgiveness of others, not to continue the old way of being, not to be abusive or receive abuse. New way of being, softer, more clear. Just noticing what in me right now, my perspectives, these triggers that I get with these situations that are still playing out, you know, what's shifting in me right now to totally settle, to totally release those old frictions, to totally rise myself above them and take a new way of being, regardless of who's following me or not. My connection is still there, ever present. I am love, right? And the mother's just here to remind us of all that. These planets are set up to hold this transformation for us in the basket. I'm thinking of like how I have little kittens in my house right now. I could put them in a basket and they'd be so safe and, comforted because of the curved, supportive nature of the basket and the openings that these trines and so it's going to affect us all the same and so differently according to how it is in your chart. So if you really want to dive in more personally, contact Elayni.
Yeah, I would
But
highly, highly, highly recommend doing an astrology reading at this time because 5 planets, 5 houses, 5 areas of life that it's going to be impacted and influenced and changed. So traditionally, remember that Aries is the house of self, right? It's the me, it's the I, it's the how I express myself. Gemini is the house of communication and understanding and learning and speaking and information. Leo is the house of creativity and children and artistry. Libra is the house of marriage and sacred partnership and law. And then Aquarius is, the 11th house is the house of dreams, hopes, gains, aspirations, community, collective, doing good for the collective. So I love the fact that these are all the different ways in which we as the individual get to progress and change. So we become more sovereign, more creative, more spiritual, more open, more connected. We start to communicate differently. We open ourselves up to higher intelligence, higher galactic communication and information. We express differently, we create differently, we birth differently, we find joy in different ways of creating music, artistry, On top of that, our relationships change. And our community changes, our dreams change, and we're building something towards greater sustainability, the community, the collective. We gain our dreams, our hopes, our desires, our future.
Yeah. If there was any prediction I would put on this, I would say this is safe. The way that we connect and communicate and interrelate is changing into a much more clearer, authentic, and empowered way. So let that be our guidepost. And in order to do that, our subtle, like in yogic philosophy, they call it your hidden agendas we're not even realizing we're subconsciously you know, seeking, ways we subtly manipulate situations around us in order to get what we need. We can also call those our shadows, but they're just little nuances that were created and we're not aware of yet. So these things will come to the surface. The way that we subtly manipulate life and trying to extract energy from other people will show up. And, again, we can subtly recalibrate that. And as we address our own hidden agendas and we can connect more clearly, it opens the way for telepathy, for all this junk social media to start going away, for ways that we can connect more authentically and fully to rise. So I predict that, shift coming up. Yay!
Very good. Yeah, I think it's just a really exciting time to be in, and I think what I really deeply love about the energy and the activation of this day is that, and listen, why I relate to this so much is because I'm a Libra sun, for those of you that don't know. So justice, like real justice to me is like, let's go. Like I am here for it, right? That equality, that justice, that fairness, that righteousness, like I know what it's like to live in that Libra energy of this is the time. Like we have the scales and we have the sword. And we are, like, this is it. Like, this is what's fair is fair, and what's right is right, and what's just is just, and
Yeah. And I
you
feel
know,
like I've got one more clarity to lay in. This is not women, feminine against masculine, or
no,
women against men. The feminine and the mother is in us all.
yeah, exactly.
And
That's a
it
really
does not serve us to pretend any single person in this planet does not have this. So this is for all of us to
yeah,
connect with our feminine. And this is a softening for everyone.
yeah,
So
yeah,
let's not take the feminine message in here as against masculine in any way. This is a co-healing and coming back together
yeah. That's
within
that.
ourselves first and then externally. Thank you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We're not, this is not like a you versus me thing. Like, this is like, if that's the energy that you're getting from this conversation, then you've just missed the whole conversation. Like, you literally just missed the point of this conversation. Sorry. Um, but
I
the
just wanted
point,
to clarify because there's so much feminine energy in this. And there's a lot of coaching I know, especially in the US and in the West, of the feminine. It started with Mars versus Venus, and it's not us against anybody else. We are perfectly complementary
exactly.
beings to merge and co-create, is
Yeah,
all.
yeah, exactly.
Thank
So thank you for clarifying that. Thank you for bringing that
you.
in. So, but for like, this is the thing, it's like there's the sense of justice that's coming. And when I say justice, I'm not referring to, like Cholena was saying, like man against woman, or this country against that country, or like I'm talking as a collective. Like the shit is hitting the fan, and I am here for it because we've been living in times and structures and systems that has not been equal, has not been fair, has not been just or righteous, because we haven't taken the collective into consideration. And that is what is changing. Like like the 1%, if you will, and the 99%, like it's balancing. And that's the key. We as a humanity are starting to and this is what's so beautiful for me, because for me it feels very fiery. It feels very like I kind of hate to bring this in because some people are going to be like, oh no, but like the energy of what this mother energy is like if I feel into what this moon is activating with these planets, it's very warrior, and it's like very Kali and Athena kind of energy combined, right? It's like, and not destruction for the sake of destruction, but it's like, I'm going to fight against everything that is getting in the way of what is real, what is pure, what is whole, and what is truth. And I'm willing to fight for what is honest and just and good. And that is the thing. And I'm like, holy shit. And then at the same time, we've got like these crazy supportive, like we've got like she's fucking got like the magician on her, like, standing here. She's got the rebel, like the sci-fi genius that can like concoct anything out of nothing, and like she's got the planet, the biggest planet that can just blow stuff up and make it huge. And like she's got Pluto, like the underlord, like literally like like she's got all of that saying, honey, you've been abandoned for far too long. There's been way too much inequality for far too long. Like, we've got you, girl. Let's go. Let's fuck shit up. Let's make stuff fair. Let's bring peace back to the world. Let's make it beautiful again. Let's build the utopia. Let's build the Shangri-La. Let's build like the beauty of it all. Like, and let's awaken that within each person here so that we can deal with our stuff, so that we're done with the karma. We're done with the cause and effect. We're done with the like, oh no, I didn't learn that lesson. I've got to come back around again and do it all over again. Nope, nope, nope. Like, we're done. That's the thing. I'm like, let's go. I'm very excited for this transit. And so, again, as I mentioned before, just really feel into it. Like, who do I want to be moving forward? What is the kind of energy that I want to be? What is the kind of person that I want to be? How do I want to impact and influence the community? How the individual, how do I choose to live my spiritual self? How do I choose to communicate? How do I choose to create and expand and grow? How do I choose to love? How do I choose to create balance? How do I choose to create equality and fairness and justice in my life? Like, how do I choose to grow and gain and dream and at the same time support my community, the collective humanity, the world? Like, oh, so beautiful.
And once I know all that cognitively, how do I live that in a simple, embodied way?
Yes,
Where my
exactly.
yes is just my yes, and my no is just my no, and there's no other baloney in between it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Can you go and be that person? And if you're struggling, like if that's
Have
too
you
much,
always been that you forgot?
yeah, exactly. We all have this beautiful light inside of us. So like, who do you want to be? Can you go and be that person? Can you be as
Totally.
sensitive? Can you be as empathic? Can you be as creative? Can you be as weird? Can you be as different? Can you be as free? Can you be as free as you've always wanted to be, right? And then like build on that. What are the choices? What are the decisions? What are the thoughts? What are the words? What are the behaviors? What is the, like, how does that person live and express and create and move and share and eat and fuck and live? Like, how is that person going to do all of this? How do I bring it in? How do I become that? How do I anchor that? Each person has a different answer. Each person here is going to have a different response to this. But the invitation is that it's there. It's there. Don't sleep on it. Don't be like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm just gonna, yeah, okay, thanks guys, it's been fun. Next, what's the next thing that I'm gonna do? Scroll through, YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, like
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah,
If you're
blah.
not feeling the energy, now's the moment to cultivate a little. Get off of the scrolling and, move, dance, sit in silence, get to nature, like find a different way. Shake it
Exactly.
up somehow, even if you don't know how.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Jupiter's there. I was just thinking Jupiter's there, encouraging us to play with it in a different way, expand this way. It doesn't have to be the way that you want to expand for the rest of your life. You get to play, you get to
Exactly.
explore and choose. It's like being a teenager all
Yeah,
over again.
exactly. And that's the thing, like the old you, the old way of thinking and speaking and communicating and creating has to change. And it's going to change, whether you're aware of it or not, whether you
And
want
we
it
may have
or not.
recently been experiencing and feeling the spaces inside of ourselves that have to change. I've noticed some sarcasm come up in me, and I'm like, whoa, I thought I addressed that. So just notice. Don't pour yourself over the fire. Just notice what needs to be reined in a little bit so you can really structure yourself into something that feels rooted and can sway and flow with life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
It's a
you so
beautiful
much.
time. And thank you, Cholena, for letting me go on my love cult rampage, like verbal diarrhea moment. Um, and thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you all for being here. And yeah, I still have no idea what I'm going to do on Sunday. I still haven't gotten any downloads or any information as to what exactly it is that I really want to do collectively and or how I even want to work with this energy. But I know that I want to do some kind of reclamation of my feminine energy because that to me feels really, really strong and really important. And it's like all the parts of my feminine, like my creativity, my empathy, my sympathy, my sexuality, my intuition, my psychic abilities, all of these different things. All of those parts that I have abandoned, like, and discarded and judged and belittled, and where there was harm done to me, this is the reclamation. I am reclaiming these parts as me. And I'm bringing them whole, as in our previous video we spoke about, bringing these parts together in ISIS, and like we're going to build them back together. And with Neptune being in the opposite of that, I get to do that through a very beautiful way because the magician can show me what needs to be, what are the illusions that I have around this feminine reclamation? What is the illusions that I carry? What are the beliefs that I have around why I can't be those things or why I can't be as
Right,
full as I
because
want
it's
to
not a
be?
like new boss age type of energy. It's not that. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not that.
And so, Neptune can show me like where are the illusions that I've like created within myself, right? Around my feminine gifts and parts of my feminine where I've, like where have I been out of balance within my own self? And I get to bring all of this home and I get to rebalance this. I get to love it back. I get to weigh my heart against a feather and go, am I really in right relationship with my own soul? Like, can I really, like with my own dreams, with my life, with like the inner children, the parts, like I can call them home. I can reclaim these parts of me. And then I have support, from Jupiter, like, honey, we're here to see you shine. Let's go. We've got Pluto also saying, honey, you want power? You are power. Do you want to see how powerful you really are? Let's go. Like, do you
This is a
understand how
moment to
magnificent?
reweave your whole basket, your whole existence. So those spots where there was a little leak there, reweave it. Choose your colors, choose your materials, choose how thick you want that weave.
Yeah.
Feel into it. Yeah.
So yeah,
Awesome.
so I think that's what I'm going to be doing on Sunday. And I might share something for people that want to join and go kind of weird with
Awesome.
me. I don't know. We'll see.
We've got
Um,
beach yoga going on in my town on Sunday. So I don't know. That's around the time we normally do stuff with
okay.
you, Elayni. But we'll see if beach yoga is over, I will be at your thing.
All right.
And we will
Well, for anybody
see you
that's
next
watching
week
this
either way.
in
Yes.
Colena's town, go to beach yoga with her. Hook up with her, go and hang out, meet her there.
Definitely go to beach yoga. We'll swim and paddle afterwards. And then we'll hopefully get on with Elayni's thing as well. So
Yeah.
let
Well,
us know what's going to happen when you figure it out. And we
yeah,
will, show up or catch the replay. So it's going to be
yeah,
epic.
yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, but also just if anybody does want a reading or an astrology reading, please reach out to me because this is the time to do that.
Right. This is like a reading for this whole next phase of your life.
Correct.
It's kind of like the new birth chart reading,
Yeah,
because yeah.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it's a
All right.
perfect time to, I'll be in connection, Elayni. So
All
thank you
right.
everyone for being here. We'll
We
see
love
you
you.
next week. Have a beautiful day.
Bye.
Thank you.